chapter 17, Enemies of the Church. I'm gonna just go ahead and skim through, give you some data, go over it, expand on it, whatever. Here it is. I know I wrote some information regarding the anti-Scientology cult and the truth about apostates, the Scientology story. I want to provide you with more information, including Rimini's role. If you haven't read or seen that information, go to my YouTube, go to the Truth About Apostates overview video series where you'll see, anti-Scientology cult, the subject there. Also, I think it's chapter 10 in Truth About Apostates book. Anyway, this is a creepy, crawly group of people. These people are associated all by their hatred for the Church of Scientology, their lack of a job, and their reprehensible history. Those who are part of their cult cannot talk about anything else but what is on the agenda for the day, week, or what is laid out in the future. If they wander from it, they will be reprimanded. They have a website called The Outer Banks. This is a quote from Marty Rathbun. This is what he says. They have a website called The Outer Banks, where the talking points for the day, the week, the future are presented particularly by Grinder and Ortega and their financier, Karen Carriere. End of quote. Karen is a professional prostitute. She has been since the time she was in Scientology. It was one of the factors that got her expelled from Scientology. She was promiscuous and wasn't focused on helping people with Scientology principles. Karen is in charge of the money for their cult full of people who are anti-Scientology. Karen works out deals with disgruntled former members, investors, conmen, criminals, and the elderly for their income. The money is then distributed in the accounts of those of the royalty and those who have done their fair share of harassment. This is another quote by Marty Rathbun. This is what he has to say about that. She's, Karen Carriere, is the moderator because she's paying the big bucks. Mark Rathbun. End of quote. I am sure Karen knows how to control money, as she is very knowledgeable about how to roll it out on the streets. She is also very knowledgeable due to having to write checks for failed court cases against Scientology. This is another quote by Mark Rathbun on that topic. You can come by invitation only the cream of the crop, or as De La Carriere said, the royalty gets to be in court. End of quote, Marty Rathbun. It is strange how Leah, Mike, and Tony state that Scientology isn't a religion. They actually call it a cult. It's hypocritical because, by definition, they are a cult. Cults are closed groups, and I'm sure they don't allow just you and me to walk in and be part of their activities. Scientology is a wide open group that anyone can join and see the good works for themselves. Something doesn't add up. If only those innocent night show hosts knew that what they were getting involved in. Leah's defamatory statements regarding Scientology were actually about her all along. I didn't want to expect the worst. I wanted to give Leah a chance. This is just downright distasteful. That's what Mark Rathbun has to say about that. This whole Rimini production is a complete projection factory. They're a cult. They act like cult members, and they project it onto Scientology. End of quote, Mark Rathbun. Now, Mark Rathbun actually escaped the anti-Scientology cults. And if you don't know that, well, you're about to. I'm tired of hearing that my religion is a cult. I know this accusation isn't genuine. I know where it comes from. These are some slimy people. No wonder they're part of this cult. I read that Marty Rathbun was part of the Outer Banks. I discovered that he was a major contributor to this cult's website. I discovered that Mark had been very neutral. This is what he has to say. What Mark Rathbun has to say. This is start of the quote. Several months later, after declining the offer of being a producer for the A&E TV show, Leah contacts me and wants me to literally make a commitment to being in the ASC. Okay? I'm like, I'm not a joiner. I'm not a sheep. I'm not a follower. She said, No, no, no. It's like if you're against them, we're together. Kind of weird, huh? Literally like she's recruiting him for a cult that he was literally already in, but apparently he basically divvied from it, and thus she wants more commitment from him. I said, the problem is you want me to join a group of people that I have had experience with and been involved with that are demonstrably, obviously far more unethical, far more disloyal, far more criminal than any Scientologist that I've ever dealt with. In 27 years I was in it. And yet, as much as you rail about it, you then want me to act in the very way you accuse Scientology of acting. In other words, if you're not with us, you're with them. I told her no. Her response was, this is what Leah's response was. Not only are you not to get in communication with me again, you must destroy all of my contact information because I'm destroying yours. End of quote by Mark Rathbun. As you can see, looks like she just disconnected, right? Somehow this is now being portrayed as what Scientology does? I don't think so. The assertion that Scientology is disconnecting people is dishonest. Scientologists choose to disconnect with those he or she wishes to, and not because the other person disagreed with something that the person said. Ramini, on the other hand, disconnects with people who she doesn't agree with. She disconnects from people who won't do what she asks. Interesting, huh? Mark recently spoke out against Outer Banks and the anti-Scientology cult. He spoke out via YouTube in coordination with the Church of Scientology International. He escaped the anti-Scientology cult and wanted to tell us all about it. These videos were produced uncoerced and comprise hours of information documenting everything about Leah Remini, Mike Rinder, Tony Ortega, their posse, cults, and their agendas. When Mark released these videos in 2017 and 2018, the Outer Bankers and the anti-Scientology cult were trying to save their asses. They were trying to their best at discrediting. They surrendered. Now, this is what Mark Rathbun has to say about that. I got to read you something that was on their Outer Banks. In fact, I think this was a response to their response to my videos. Somebody pointed out that there were a lot of verifiable facts to my videos that were critical of Mike Rinder and Tony Ortega. This is what it said. Attention, Outer Bankers. We have long since had rules and guidelines. In the rules, we do not permit trashing or demeaning or disparaging posts of our hero activist leaders, Mike Rinder and Tony Ortega. If you attack the main activists, your post will be deleted. Censorship. You'll be warned. Intimidation. If you do not agree to this, then you do not belong on Outer Banks. Disconnection and expulsion. End of quote. Mark Rathbun. Notice how everything that just was said to you is happening right then, like is what they're projecting onto the church. The church hasn't done any of this. Okay? And to look at what Rathbun's just saying now about what they had all stated on the website and trying to intimidate him and silence him and so on and so forth. It seems like this is where they're trying to project it onto the church. This is what they're trying to bury into the past by telling us that the church is doing something, but it's not, right? So right after Mark spoke out against the Outer Bankers and the ASC, he went through many surprising events. These events were blackmail, harassment, attempts at infiltration, and smear campaigns. Pretty interesting stuff, huh? Pretty interesting stuff. This is what Mark Rathbun had to say. Tony Ortega starts a smear campaign and he runs it for 6 months nonstop on me and my family. They attempted to infiltrate my family. They attempted to drive wedges between my wife and I. When that failed, they literally took up a collection to hire private investigators to spy and harass us. And when that failed, they attempted to blackmail me. I literally received a blackmail threat. It said, if you keep talking about the ASC, if you keep talking about the other side of the story or about our laundry, we're going to expose all the crimes that you failed to disclose about your experience when you were in Scientology. End of quote. Mark Rathbun. Okay, if you didn't hear that, this is exactly what they keep trying to project onto the church. The church isn't doing that. They are. This statement is completely what they're trying to push onto the church. Just listen to that. It says, I literally received a blackmail threat. It said, if you keep talking about the ASC, anti-Scientology cults, if you keep talking about the other side of the story or about our laundry, we are going to expose all of the crimes that you have failed to disclose about your experience when you were in Scientology. Ta-da! We found the hypocrites. Didn't we, huh? So there they are. They're just projectionists. If you don't see it by now, I am sure you'll see it eventually. They are projecting everything that they're doing onto Scientology and Scientologists. This is their job. They're conning people all around the world. They are extorting money from innocent families and hardworking individuals to take down, quote unquote, the evil religion. Talk about wasted donations. The return on hate funding is pretty small. Plus, karma's just waiting at the door to settle things up down the road. Mark Rathbun didn't end up joining the ASC. He is living his life, doing whatever he is doing. I hope he is living a more honest life instead of having to live a life full of lies, defamation, and hate. Mark ends up exposing a key part of the ASC's agenda. This is so key that they are attacking Mark for even stating this. He probably has to defend himself in court. This is what he states. Start of quote. The day before Leah Remini's January 2017-2020 special, what happened was I hear from ABC 2020 asking me, hey, do you know of a guy named Sergio? I said, no, I have never heard of the guy, and I've never heard of the guy in my life. Simultaneously, I get an email from Tony Ortega saying Sergio Palami says that he got raped by an adult male while he was found a teenager in Scientology that you found out about and covered it up. I got what was going down. This was the payback on the blackmail. They literally made it up. So I looked up the Sergio guy. He'd been going on for 3 or 4 months in the ASC troll farm. So after I received the email from Tony Ortega, I wrote to ABC 2020 and I said that I had never heard of him in my life. I understood that what was going on. He's running the same op that he's been running all the time, and Mike Rinder explained it to me. Tony will run anything because he's got nothing to lose, because he's a nobody with a blog. Scientology and nobody else is going to waste their time suing a guy who can never make good on whatever damage he does in the first place. And he can blog from a shopping cart in an alley as well as whatever apartment he's living in now. So he's literally got immunity from that respect to libel. What he'll do is he'll put out the sleaziest criminal innuendo, different games, different grains of truth mixed in, and keep repeating it enough with the intention the tabloids at some point will start to pick it up, and with the intention that he'll keep feeding the tabloid, with the intention that ultimately, in this degraded age of infotainment and clickbait news, the legitimate quote-unquote media will pick it up. The only reason the blackmail didn't run is because I called ABC out on it. That's how far they went. They blackmailed me. I told them to bring it. They had nothing to bring, so they literally manufactured something. Mark Rathbun, end of quote. The Church of Scientology isn't blackmailing anyone. Scientology isn't attacking people for no apparent reason. These are invented statements. Leah Remini, Mike Rinder, and Tony Ortega are all attacking Scientology. They framed the church on fair game because the church is speaking out against the discrimination and hatred. Spreading facts about Leah and her cult followers is not fair game, a policy that was in the church that has been misunderstood and was canceled 20 years ago. These people dislike how Scientology is countering their statements. Are you ready for this? This is another statement from Mark Rathbun on that topic. It literally consists of if it harms Scientology, it's good. If it helps Scientology, it's evil. Period. And you know this is the way Mike Rinders put it. He's literally put out on a podcast that Scientology is fair game, that you may and can do anything you want against Scientology and get away with it. Literally promoting that idea. End of quote. Mark Rathbun. So it's just a bunch of projections, guys. That's the reason why I don't take them seriously. They are criminals. They project. They're con people. And I wouldn't fall for it at all if you're a sane person and you understand facts. This is the fact right here. This is the truth. Take it or leave it. Get your copy at exposingcrimes.com. Again, that's exposingcrimes.com. Get your copy of Escaping Leah there and the rest of the books. You'll love them. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in chapter 18.